Hey Spuddies, Potatomcwhiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Imperator Rome. So, interesting little thing here is the score screen, which is basically a measure of how advanced and how, technologically awesome your country is. Currently, we're number 2 in the world. Maria, who is this absolute unit of a country, is currently number 1, but we do want to try and build up Rome if we can. So, what we want to do is, there's a couple of things we want to do. We want to build another light army. So we have our 2 armies moving out over here. So I'm going to go quickly build a... Now I could build a heavier army, which would be good at fighting in this high supply terrain, but I'm building my army with the view that we're going to be fighting a lot of these little German tribes up here and stuff like that. Although, now that I think about it, some of the fighting that we'll be doing, if we go to supply map mode, even with these guys, is going to be pretty low. Over here, so we might want to have an even lighter army that's more heavy on archers and light infantry, and a little bit lighter on cavalry, because eventually we are going to want to invade this Greek section of the world here. So let's go ahead and begin recruiting a new army. This will be an even lighter army. We'll get started in Rome. It'll take us 30 days. I like to build a single unit first, and then sort of fill it out with other units. Okay, we'll accept that offer. And you don't have a commander. All right, so let's grab ourselves my grand leader. I think I'll take this guy. He will be commanding this army. And we're going to recruit to this army. We're probably going to take like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that's 8 light infantry. That brings us up to 4 thingies. And then we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4 archers and 2 horsemen in there. And this will be an even lighter army. I might even add a few more light infantry to it. This is going to be a very low quality army, but it's going to be good for sieging down things in this area over here, where the supply limit is going to be a little bit more limited. And you can see we actually got a claim over here on Epirus and Ilia Gracia. So these 2 provinces here we are going to be invading. Although first I would like to clean up this area to the north. So we'll kind of clean up this stuff first, and then we'll get to work on that. So up to 14 here. Now this army supply limit is 9. So I'm going to add 2 more light infantry to this, I think. We do need to be careful about how much manpower we're burning on this. I'll open up that extra trade. So the conflict of the orders. So the civic faction could be promoted, which would give us extra manpower and make it cheaper to promote freemen. Or we could do the populist reform. So this would be a populist reform that would improve our national unrest. Now this is a integration law, which otherwise right now we get citizen happiness, whereas if we were to institute this, we would get some national unrest and freeman happiness. Now unrest reduction is actually really nice. This one is also really good for doing some colonization, but I don't think we're really in the mood for colonization. It would also make citizens cheaper to promote. So I think we are going to accept this populist reform, even if it does sort of in the long term kind of hurt us a little bit with the populist faction influence. So we'll take the real reform, because otherwise this would cost us like 250 power points to push that through. So we'll go ahead and accept that populist reform. And now we have an unrest reductor, which means any of these provinces that we previously had a bit of unrest and perhaps were losing some loyalty should now be avoiding that. I need to save up more of this oratory power too. We could probably grab some inventions here. National commerce income really appeals to me here. Technology speed is okay. Kind of applies to all of these. In fact, technology speed is actually good because it applies to all of these. So yeah, we'll grab that. So we have another 16k troops over here. This one is a weight 10, this one is weight 12, and this one is weight 17. So there's kind of 3 different weights to our armies here. We're going to pick up a few more boats. What we want is to go up to 16 boats. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll take a bit of time to build these up. And we're going to need these boats because we plan to invade Etruria. And so we're going to want to take this area out as well because this belongs to Etruria. So, yeah, let's get the war started. We're a little bit low on manpower, but we are recovering a decent amount per month. And the Senate is in favor of declaring this war. Now, they are currently at war with someone else. No, I told a lie. They have a casus belli. So let's get the war declared. We're going to say take Etruria. And the Senate was totally fine with this move. This is a light army. So I want my light armies to be on skirmishing stance because this is what they're most effective at. And it also reduces casualties. And these are sort of units that are going to take pretty high casualties if I'm not on that stance. Whereas this larger army, I don't mind it being on something like shock or bottleneck. I think... What's strong against this? Yeah, we'll go for bottleneck because bottleneck seems to be pretty effective for these guys. We could also do deception. Yeah, let's do deception. Let's start pushing in here with our troops. I'll bring the game speed down a little bit here. Also, my capital can import another thing. I could import fish. I don't think I have fish in this city. So if I bring fish in, I would get some population growth for my capital. But it would lower the access to fish there. So now we get national freeman happiness from having a fish surplus in our capital. And we get some population growth over here in the capital as well, of Latium, which is pretty nice. I'm very, 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 very happy about that. Okay. So let's get working. You're going to push in through there. We'll go province by province until we meet the armies of our enemies. I have some more work. I don't think these trade route-y things are kind of the right move. Now, why are you on cultural? Are these the wrong culture? I guess they are technically, which is kind of hurting their happiness. So I don't mind you being on cultural, although I would much rather be on civilizing. Because what I really want to do is get rid of the tribesmen in my nation, because they don't really contribute a whole lot, and they're going to become, just like over time, a bigger and bigger burden, producing less and less. Whereas the freemen and the slaves are going to continue to produce more and just become more effective over time. So I think there's a lot of tribesmen in this province, at least a reasonable amount. So we're going to switch this province over to civilization effort, which has a 9% chance every month to promote a tribesman to either a citizen or a slave. Again, we need to bring that tribesman number down if we can. As far as I remember, these provinces over here have a lot of tribesmen in them. That's going to be an effort that we have to undertake. So we have these lighter armies sort of in advance of our heavier army. And there is a slave pop taken. We're going to move them forward. Just province by province, slowly occupying. And we want to occupy to get slaves. Because slaves are good for producing gold. Excellent. Building up a pop of slaves in here, which we can eventually promote to other classes if we want to. And also just generally having more population in our capital. And our capital cities will result in being able to just do more with our pops and stuff. We are burning manpower now in this war. So we will have to do some recovery. We are recovering a decent amount. I could hire some mercenaries, but they're pretty expensive. Okay, I'll get some trireme offense there. Another pop has been taken as a slave. So I'm going to go send you to the fort now. And then use this army right here who has a decent enslavement chance compared to some of these guys. And we'll be able to, you know, keep fueling our Roman economy with tasty, tasty slaves. Trade protection policy. Now this guy would be upset with me if I take this. This would give me some unrest for 2 years. I think I'm going to accept the unrest for 2 years, and then I'm just going to bribe this guy. Yeah. I'll bribe him to keep him loyal. I don't want people to get too disloyal. Now, what do you do? Do you need to be bribed as well? I'm not sure what your role is. What do you do? I'm not sure what he does. I'm going to let him become disloyal. That's fine. We can always fix that later. Let's go ahead and get capturing more of these cities to grab slaves. We're also looting. Definitely want to see if we can take these on. Now, these are some pretty heavy troops that they have right there. Yep, I will take that trade deal. We want to see if we can catch this army. It's heading in here. We want to wait till it's locked in, and then we should be able to catch it in that province. And we should have a pretty good chance of beating them. Because they have very low morale, and we're, well, much better prepared. And now we're in a defensive position, so we should be fine. And we always can pull this army in to reinforce if the fight is looking dangerous. So it looks like this guy only deployed a few troops. All right, there's the rest of them. But the particular way that things deployed worked out really well for me. So that's fantastic. Yet more stuff is deploying to the front line. Okay, now we're taking losses, so we're going to pull this army into the fight. Okay, the army is deploying in a counterattack. And, yeah. How's your manpower? They've got a lot of manpower, but we have a lot of just power. So I'm not too worried about it. We also have a pretty sizable fleet. We're waiting for the last 2 triremes to come in here. And here is one of the last ones now. So let's go ahead and just do a little bit more capturing of territory and all that sort of stuff. Now this guy has some loyal cohorts, so he's going to be losing some loyalty over time. But he's pretty loyal as things stand right now. So our militaristic faction guy died of overwork, so we're going to need a new praetor. And Quintus Fabius is a pretty good praetor, so we'll slap him in. And he will reduce our aggressive expansion over time, which is nice. Alright. It is time to start considering integration of some of these vassals. For example, this guy right here. We will improve opinion with you. Because we want to integrate you. It'll take some time for that to build up, but that's okay. Oratory tech investment from exporting cloth. Excellent. I'll take that. I'll take that too. Alrighty. Cash levels are holding pretty strong. We are running a little bit low on manpower. Well, that's okay. We're going to be burning a lot of manpower, and we'll be picking up more manpower as we conquer more things, so we're not too worried about that. We're parking these boats here so that we can use them as a crossing party. Let's pick it up to speed 4 right now. Only 25 men are making it through per month because we're in hostile territory, which is understandable. Only taking minimum amounts of attrition. Now, I could be taking less attrition, but, you know, it's kind of like, I feel like role-playing is fine here. We're only getting 50 men per month because we're in occupied territory rather than friendly. Okay, you guys should be able to hold and win this fight. Looks like you guys did win that fight, which was great. I might consolidate some of these regiments, but I think we're going to just hold. Yeah, it might be a good idea to consolidate. We'll have to do a bit of consolidation as our armies dwindle in size. You guys should win this fight pretty well. You're up against some heavy infantry, in fact, so you might need support. So I'll pull these heavy infantry in to help. You can see it's a lot of heavy infantry we're up against, which is going to do a lot of damage to us. But with our other army supporting now, should start going a little bit better as these troops filter through the combat phases. Now we do have the skirmishing stance, which is countering their bottleneck stance, which is great, which means we actually did a lot more damage than they would normally expect. Let's see if we can consolidate down a little bit, just to kind of reduce the total manpower that we're demanding on our armies right now. Finally, our vassals have come. And let's see if we can't get a personal occupation of that. The spread of ISIS. So it looks like a religion has come to our shores. So the cult of Isis will appear in Rome. 25% of the female citizens will commit Cometicism. I'm actually not sure. This looks like it is some sort of Egyptian religion. This would lower unrest. Control, if I go F, Velia. Now that's in this city, this particular city right here. This would give me some unrest right here, which would be really, really nice. I would lose some religious power. So I think I'm going to accept the ISIS cult. Which is fine, sure. It makes these guys a little bit unhappier. But the extra unrest... Wait, where's my unrest reduction, huh? Was it Kelia? I thought it was Velia. I guess I just didn't get that unrest reduction. Oh well. Rest in peace. So we have some choices here for military traditions, which are kind of like the tech tree for military that you can spend your military power on. So, for example, we have over here on the left side, we get infantry defense, cavalry offense, omen power, enslavement efficiency, slave output, light infantry morale, trireme, national manpower, and archer and light infantry hill combat. So this is more of a sort of lighter pushing north sort of side of the thing. This is an enslaving people, which is, you know, always nice for your economy. We have trireme morale here, siege engineers, which is better for going against more established people who have more forts, siege ability, and then the constructing the border forts. So this is more of like a sort of taking out forts and building up forts type of thing. This also makes your army quite a bit cheaper, which is really, really nice. Heavy infantry defense, horse archer, and light cavalry discipline, and then general loyalty and cheaper triumphs. We also have heavy infantry discipline right here. That would be really, really nice to pick up right now. And there's quite a bit of heavy infantry stuff here on this right side. This right side is really appealing to me, although the enslavement efficiency is also super appealing to me. So yeah, I'm super tempted to get this heavy infantry, but I've actually been going for kind of a lighter army here. So I think I might go down this left side and go for the light infantry defense, because I'm using a lot of light infantry, and getting extra defense on them means they'll take less damage, which is always really, really nice. We have quite a bit of oratory power, so let's have a look at some of the choices we could make with regards to some of these provinces. Over here in Apulia, we have a decent number of tribesmen that we could potentially convert, so I might do a civilization effort here to try and get these tribesmen turned into freemen and slaves. So we'll do a civilization effort over here, and that will handle this province. Up here, we don't really have enough provinces in here, I think, to really justify changing this. We'll leave this as it is for now. Lucania here, rather, has a decent number of people. Let's see what the religion is in here. Mostly the correct religion. What about culture? Mostly an acceptable culture. It's the red color. Like, sure, they do take a slight penalty, but I don't think it's worthwhile doing that. So we might as well do a... I could do social mobility in here, which would convert more of my citizens. It would sort of like evenly distribute my population between freeman citizens and stuff. But I think what I would rather do first is get some of these tribesmen converted away, because they're going to become less efficient as the game goes on. And the earlier we can get them switched over to a more useful class like freeman, the better. We are actually pretty close to getting our first tech advances, which I'm glad I have some civic power saved up here. The Siege of Fatlunia, we managed to pick up some stuff. Let's force combine here again. I want to reduce the amount of manpower that we're demanding. I know I did just build these up, but, you know, it's just the way that we're doing things. I'm going to send this light army over across the coast here to get onto this fort and take out the island of Corsica. I think, yeah, Corsica is over there. Let's keep occupying land. Let's see if we can't grab some slaves. There is going to be a battle here, although we got there first. And so we won. Let's see if you guys can get across here. There's no fort over there, I think. Yeah, there's no fort over here on the island of Corsica, so we should have an easy time. Just mostly doing a bit of occupation to get some slaves and kill some pops. We've basically won this war at this point. So let's get this Roman army back down to Rome. We are, of course, building the fort in Rome to make the capital more defendable. It already has a level 1 fort, but this will just bring it up to a nicer level. Missing a lot of manpower. Let's go ahead and push down this way. So how do you feel about peace now? I need to capture the capital there, but we will be able to piece them out soon. Once I capture this capital province here, it'll be fine. I'll let this battle happen without my help. So, the tribal proposition. Marcia has started investing a lot of their treasury. Now, who is Marcia? Is it... Sorry, who is it? It's, Marcia. Where's Mar... Ah, it's these guys. The, one of our vassals here. So they want to give us a tribal influx in Fukens, which will increase the unrest, but give us a tax benefit. For some reason that doesn't seem to be updating. I'm not really sure what's going on there. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I think that's good enough for the war. We'll pick up all this territory. Now, we are going to take a significant amount of aggressive expansion here. 15, in fact, which is quite a bit. So we're going to probably have to do a little bit of resting here. And we'll, of course, reduce our aggressive expansion as well. Let's bring these troops back. Let's combine them together. Try to, you know, reduce the amount of pops and stuff like that. And it looks like we picked up some oratory advances. Now, what that's going to mean is that over here in these oratory inventions, we have some new things. We can take aggressive expansion impact, which is going to reduce the amount of aggressive expansion that we pick up every time we get into a fight. I think picking up heavy infantry discipline is really, really nice. So we're going to pick that up for sure. Siege ability reduces the amount of attrition we take, so that's a definite. And supply limit also reduces the amount of attrition we take. And we're kind of hard pressed for manpower, so anything that saves our manpower is good. Over here, still not sold on any of that. Monthly tyranny and aggressive expansion impact is really nice. I think I'm going to take this aggressive expansion change because I currently have a lot of it and I want to get rid of it. I want to burn it off as fast as I can. So we'll take that. That'll speed things up just a touch in that department. We are losing it relatively quickly, but it is causing us some problems, namely with the relations of our vassals. You can see over here, my vassals have negative 23 loyalty from aggressive expansion. And it's also hurting our relations with all of these guys. So if we can burn down that stuff. Tyranny, I'm not too worried about that. Reduces at a pretty good rate. Sort of investing in these long-term inventions is nice. Let's bring you guys back to the... just whatever port we can. We'll accept this deal. We have a decent amount of cash in the bank, so it might be worth building some buildings. Now in Roma, I like to focus on getting my civilization level up using marketplaces, especially since that increases the amount of money that the province makes, so I might do that. I could get some granaries, which would make these slaves happier. Like, for example, we have some of these slaves who are a little bit upset about their station in life, and picking up extra granaries would also increase the population level and increase the output of the slaves. I don't think we have enough slaves in here yet to justify many granaries, but for sure we can pick up another marketplace. Let's have a look around. Any province is making a decent amount of cash. Not really, mostly Roma. But we have all these provinces up here now that we need to start wondering about. We also have some forts to think about too. Right now I'm going to leave the fort situation the kind of way it is right now. Because we're kind of out of manpower, we're going to spend just maybe like 5 years just chilling, sitting back, letting our manpower recover a bit. Doing some internal realm management. We have a lack of a governor over here, so who will I assign? This guy is from a scorned family and he's a relatively high score, so that should sort that out. No longer has a scorned family, but he is slowly losing loyalty from the tyranny problems. So I don't think this local autonomy is doing a huge amount here. It is reducing the unrest, but I would much rather I was converting these pops to useful roles. And there's a decent amount of tribesmen in here that could be upgraded. So let's focus on civilizing this province. We're working on a lot of civilization, and there's a bit of a culture conversion going on over here, which is fine. Not ideally what I would be doing over there. In fact, I can actually change this to civilization effort, which is what I really want to be going on in these provinces, because I want to try and increase the... I want to reduce the amount of tribesmen in my empire, basically. Extra monthly tyranny reduction. Let's see, the Cult of Fortune. In Fouquens. This would hurt my cash. Flying Fortuna. A priest is small, around looking forward. So this would give us a religion that I don't see anywhere else. I think I want to go like a tolerant route here. So this give me a Roman freeman. It's fine, we'll accept that. I'm hoping that that has good consequences down the road. Oh dear. Control F. Oh, that was the wrong key. That was the console. Whoops. Where is this? Neapolis. Neapolis. So it looks like you guys are all going to die. So Neapolis is going to get buried. I did a test game and this didn't happen. I'm kind of blown away by this. There's Pompeii. Can I move these pops out of here? No, not while there's an event happening. Ah, clever game. So unfortunately, this province is just going to suck until the end of the game now. There's basically just 2 citizens left. So Neapolis just got obliterated, which kind of sucks because this is a farmland province. And the farmland provinces are really, really powerful because they have really high growth rates. You can see here they have a plus 0.1 growth rate, which is a really, really nice rate. So soon we'll have some civic advances. I will go for the research points and capital import routes if I can. In terms of religious advances, I like national pop growth. I actually like all of these. I kind of want them all. So we're going to be saving up civic power. But yeah, basically, I need to save up manpower because I am a little bit light on it right now. Not really many ways to gain manpower as a sort of civilized nation. Okay, training camps could give me some manpower. Like, it might not be a terrible thing to do to get some training camps in some of these nicer provinces. But again, I kind of just feel like it's not necessarily the right move. We have money that we can invest. So I'm torn between going for training camps, granaries, and stuff like that. Like, granaries increase the pop growth, which is a lot of fun, which would mean I'd have really, really strong growth in all of these cities. I kind of want to do that, or I could just go for a lot of training camps. I like the idea of, like, focusing on growth and just having, like, really, 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 really big cities. I mean, what is 0.6% growth anyway? Let's look that up, right? So if it takes 100%, if we divide 100 by 0.06, okay, we get 1,666. If we divide that by 12 for how many years? No. So that's how many months it would take to grow a pop. And if I divide that by 12... it takes nearly 100 years to grow a pop from these granaries. That's a long-ass time. On the other hand, it's also increasing the happiness of slaves, which I think is the big thing there. So if you're not getting slave happiness out of granaries, I don't think it's really worth building them, because the production of the slaves is based on the happiness. So yeah. So otherwise, I think it's better to build marketplaces, and we will do that. Because it also increases your civilization value. And there is a civic advance, which is going to make it cheaper for us to pay our wages and just generally increase the amount of money we make. More importantly, the civic advances has some cool stuff in here, like the research points and the capital import routes. We are going to go ahead and pick up the research points because we are starting to lose some research points because we are spreading our nation out wider and less of our people are citizens, which means our research efficiency has gone down a little bit. But yes, we need to spend a little bit of time at peace. I'd like to build up like maybe 15,000 manpower before we go and finish up these guys up here, just to have the little bit of extra manpower. In fact, I also need to build this army back up to a more reasonable size. I think I'll put 3 more light infantry in here. This is going to be a very, very light infantry heavy army. Built around skirmishing. Okay, so we can pick up some more trade. Let's see here. We can't undo the damage, but we can control it. Transparency, would it be a... Rome gains Legion action only, so this would increase Freeman happiness. Civic faction promoted. So I can use tyranny here to fight against the populist faction. Now, the populist faction is dangerous. But I like having really happy freemen, because it gives me more manpower. I'll say transparency can only be a benefit. Whatever, sure. We'll promote the populist faction, although we don't want it to take control, so that's something we need to keep in mind. There is an election soon. And who is going to win? Publius Cornelius Arvina. Who I think is a general of one of our armies. Yeah, this guy right here is a... He looks like he's going to be winning. Okay. So we'll go up to a slightly higher speed here and we'll let time push through. So build cost, build time, and national tax increases. This is actually a good time for this. Because what it means is we can spend a bit of time building up. Like we have more cash, it's cheaper to build. Let's continue doing marketplaces around Rome. And we got a new advance. Let's have a look at our unrest map mode. My provinces are mostly loyal, although this one is hurting because it's on religious change. Now, I actually don't really care about the religion in here so much. I'd be much more concerned about the culture, but we'll let the religious kind of make its way through. I'd rather do culture first to kind of bring the happiness up here. Also, I want to colonize here. Yeah, I need to bring the... let's get the culture under wraps here. It's the wrong kind of culture on this island, I believe. Yeah, it's Corsican, which is not what we want it to be. Alright, so we got an omen we can call down. I'm thinking we could bring down our aggressive expansion. We could increase our national population growth. We could get extra tax, and we're kind of in a sort of rest period. We could also do tech points. I think we're lacking a bit of manpower, but 10% really isn't that much. I think I'm much more interested in either doing a boost to tax or a reduction of our aggressive expansion, because that's really hurting the culture. And I think the tax is really, really nice because it'll mean we're making more and more money that we can invest into buildings. So we'll spend a bit of time just relaxing. Oh, we're going to have to fight Macedon for these provinces now. That was not what I was expecting. I don't think I'm actually ready to fight Macedon. I'm going to need a lot of manpower to fight them. Although they are out. They are allied to Thrace, and we don't really have many allies in the area. I could potentially ally Phrygia. Byzantium has been released, which is interesting. We're getting some tribal influx, which is interesting. Some sieging going on over here. Party leader. I would rather keep the party leaders loyal. Yeah, Neapolis is starving. That really sucks that the volcano basically wiped out Neapolis. It's going to become an empty province now. I guess I could, in theory, move you away. The last Jewish pop is like starving to death, which is not ideal. A bit of civil war has come to an end. We've got a decent amount of manpower in the tank. Again, I'd like to get up to about 15,000 before I make my next conquest. I can also build another couple of buildings. Now we do want to go for the marketplaces around Rome. We want to try to build up the civilization and income level of these provinces. Every market does increase your civilization level, and every 2 points of civilization gives you a little bit of pop growth. And there's some other stuff like happiness and all that sort of jazz that makes these guys more effective over time. In fact, you can kind of see the civilization level. We're very green as we're trying to increase it. I want to be a sort of bastion of green civilization advances. Out of curiosity, am I ahead of time of technology? I don't think I should be. I am actually very slightly ahead of time, which is good. It means I'm not falling behind technologically. Now, we definitely want to get grain rations, grand temples, and FUG. I think I'm going to go with grain rations first. Then I'm going to grab FUG to make people happier. And then we'll grab grand temples next, so that'll mean every time we use the religious power interaction, it'll work a little bit better. So we have claims on these guys. So we'll be declaring quite a few wars now. Let's get these troops in position. We'll take them out one by one, I guess. I guess 10,000 is enough to declare war on these guys because they're on their own. Really? I think what we're going to do is boost the military faction. It'll cost me some tyranny, but they will support my war. And I tell you what, we'll handle this war in the next episode. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. Please remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Remember to leave a like if you want to directly support my channel. And remember to leave a comment if you want to give me your feedback. Other than that, I want to say I love you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!